Hello and welcome to the third race meeting of the season for the 2015 BRSCC Toyo Tires Porsche Championship. On this occasion you find us, well, not on UK shores. We're in continental Europe, Holland to be exact, and the magnificent circuit park Zandvoort. It's one of the best the continent can offer, and it will certainly give a chance for these guys in the Porsche Championship a chance to really express their talents, as it's also part of the BRSCC Eurofest. Now, last time out the championship was at Rockingham, so if you didn't get a chance to catch that, I'll hand you over to commentator Richard John Neal, who can take you through all the highlights and a rundown of the championship standings that happened last time out in the series.
Thanks very much, Scott. It was Adam Southgate on pole position, challenged by Gary Duckman on the outside, and Gary Lawrence chasing him, but ultimately Adam Southgate. We go in car with Southgate down on the inside into the lead. Davey Van Andy Hack clashes with Gary Duckman. He was to bounce back later in the meeting, but it was all about these two, Adam Southgate and Richard Avery, who crossed the line inches apart. Southgate taking the win. They renewed battle in race two. In car with Southgate again, making the move to take the lead into the Dean hairpin. Well, the racing was fraught right the way down the order as ever. Jason Flegg found out what happens when you get a wheel on the grass. And up front, it was a double for Adam Southgate taking the checker. Onto the reverse grid race, cracking start from Nick Hull from row two. Gary Lawrence gets away well from pole, but it's Andy Hack in 23 who's getting used to his Boxster now. Richard Avery off on the grass, nearly spins, collects it all up. Andy Hack, bouncy bounce, but he did real well in the race and came through for second position, with Ed Hayes ahead of him here taking the checkered flag to wrap up the Boxster racing. The 924s were in terrific form once again as well, and so too was Adam Croft, who was the man to beat with 3 wins. It was the returning Alfred Piesinger who did well. Here's the dice between Alistair Kirkham and Carl Rossi. The blue car, the returning Alfred Piesinger. A welcome return to the championship for him, and he took second position behind Croft in race 3. So coming to Zandvoort, the championship standings look like this. Ed Hayes leads the Boxsters ahead of the two Garys, Lawrence and Duckman. Adam Southgate fourth from Jason Flegg, and Nick Hull in 6. In the 924s, Adam Croft is there from Alistair Kirkham, then Carl Rossin, Nizar El Chamar, Linda Warren and Simon Hawksley. Our first race then at Zandvoort, our away round for the season. Pole position going to Ed Hayes in the unusually, he's in a black car as opposed to his light blue. Let's just take a look at the grid. Hayes and Richard Avery on the front row, then Gary Lawrence and Adam Southgate, Nick Hull with Jason Flegg on row 3, then John Cleland. Michael Goodacre makes his seasonal debut in the productions. Then it's Adam Croft from Philip Waters, Nizar El Chamar and Alistair Kirkham, Simon Hawksley, David Jones, Carl Rossin, Hugh Peart, and at the back, Alfred Piesinger. Lights go off and away we go. Pole position, right of shot, the black car, unusually of Ed Hayes. Now that's the Taylor Foundry Motorsport spare car, because we've got Jason Flegg running in Ed Hayes' car at the back, the light blue car which we're used to seeing. Gary Lawrence goes up the inside of Richard Avery. 45 is Adam Southgate, and he's in 4th position. This the view in the 924s. Nizar El Chamar 4th in the standings at the moment, and they go down into the first corner, Tarzan, and we'll see more of that throughout the meeting and talk about the merits of this wonderful circuit here on the Dutch coast. And it's Ed Hayes leading, so borrowed car. There were problems in testing for Jason Flegg, and he's in the light blue car, so they've swapped over. So he's in the 77 machine. Normally, of course, Ed Hayes is 77, but he's running number 23, the black car out front, as Richard Avery looks down the inside of Gary Lawrence. There could have been a clash there, but Lawrence saw him and jinked aside to give him room and avoided damage. But it's also left the door open for Adam Southgate, who's going to try and pile through as well as they go through turn 6, back with Nizar. Up in front of him, Simon Hawksley, the Aberdonian. Oh, and past there by 72, Alistair Kirkham, a very opportune move. I think they're going to try and pass Philip Waters as well. So Waters, a little bit of a tap between the two. The 72 car goes wide. Alistair Kirkham, we're going to see Nizar go through. Kirkham's loss of movement. Look at that, 4 wide, incredible. Well, we saw it at Rockingham. You don't expect to see it on the twists and turns of Zandvoort, but we are. And going through is Alfred Piesinger, the man who returns to the championship at Rockingham, who's carving his way through the field. Alfred read that well. Well, in the end, he made up 1 place on that little move. In blue, he's got Nizar behind him, as you can see. followed by Carl Rossin. Philip Waters at the head of the gaggle, then 72 Alistair Kirkham, and David Jones in the number 8 car, the man from Beckenham in Kent, as the race leaders come down the main straight into the Tarzan corner, which has got 2 distinct lines. It's very slightly banked, and of course we were racing at Rockingham last time, which has a Tarzan corner as well, allegedly named after the man who owned the land that the corner was built on. But coming down into Tarzan, the 72 car of Alistair Kirkham heading that duo, and on the outside line you saw there, and if you brave the outside line at Tarzan, you can grab the inside for the next set of corners, the Gerlach corner, and then round turn 3, the Hugenholtz corner, and they go up towards Hunserug and then into the Rob Schlottermaker section of the circuit. Rob, who was a Grand Prix privateer, entered one Grand Prix, didn't actually get to racing Grand Prix racing, but he was a renowned sports car driver, appropriately, as we watch these Porsches doing battle here at Zandvoort, and sadly lost his life there in 1969 racing a Camaro, as there are problems for John Cleland, who will hopefully rejoin, and the lead 924s go through. So this the view from Philip Waters. Philip chasing hard, and great battle going on in front of us with Adam Croft leading, Simon Hawksley in second position, Alfred Piesinger up ahead of David Jones in the red and gold car, and we've got a challenge for the lead. Richard Avery goes through on the inside, passes Ed Hayes, so Richard Avery up into the lead. Richard looking for his first win of the season. You might remember missed the Alton Park round and came out to play at Rockingham, 2nd, 3rd and 5th places in our triple header at Rockingham, and he's got himself ahead of Ed Hayes, the championship leader Ed Hayes, so he's going to have to try and fight back. There's Phil Waters, followed by Alistair Kirkham in the red and gold colours. So great to see the production class in action again. Michael Goodacre, you just saw ahead of this group in the grey number 37 car, and surprisingly the lone production Boxster this year. We've had lots of drivers out in the full fat Boxsters, but the option is still there to run in the low fat Boxsters, the more production ones, and Michael Goodacre will pick up some handy points for that class, and I'm sure he'll welcome some competition later in the year. A spectacular shot across the circuit there as we go now to what is the battle for second position. Gary Lawrence, well, he's got the fastest lap, Gary Lawrence, and he's in 3rd place, chasing the Taylor Foundry car of Ed Hayes, who is still there, but it's Richard Avery out front. Gary Lawrence still chasing. They come down the straight. Back in 4th position is Adam Southgate, but Gary Lawrence is going to the outside line, and remember, this could be a pass around Tarzan. We'll see how much momentum he gets, whether he can brave it out. You can't really see the banking from our shot, but banking there is, and Gary Lawrence stays in 3rd place. He might want to work here with Ed Hayes to try and close in. So back to the 924 battle. Simon Hawksley up ahead of Michael Goodacre in the lone production Boxster, then Phil Waters, who's going to dive down the inside of Simon Hawksley. Great move by Waters, sliced pass, and at the halfway stage of the race gets through, makes the pass. You can see the production Boxster running a little bit higher up than the full race Boxsters, the second car that is in shot there. Adam Croft still up front ahead of them, so he's got a little bit of breathing space at the moment over Simon Hawksley, who goes wide looking for that extra grip around the outside of Tarzan, but Philip Waters repays the compliment again and gets back into 2nd position in class on a great scrap for 2nd position past the production Boxster. Now coming down into Hugenholtz, and then they go on, I suppose you might call the back straight, but it leads us away from the main admin block and pits centre here, up the hill through Hunserug and the Schlottermaker section round into turn 6. So the 924s, as ever, absolutely superb, and so too is Adam Croft, who won all 3 races at Rockingham, and it looks like he's going to make it 4 wins on the trot. Back with the race leaders. Richard Avery, though, his leader's been cut back, and challenging hard here is Ed Hayes in 23, who's caught up. He's put a little bit of distance between himself and Gary Lawrence, who's now down to 3rd. So here they come across the line again, this challenging 2.6 mile circuit, and looking for the lead very definitely now is Ed Hayes. Looks to the inside, goes back to the outside line. He's not really under any pressure from Gary Lawrence, but Richard Avery, Lawrence's teammate out front, is under pressure. So it's 2 Leighton Buzzard men at the moment in a sandwich with Ed Hayes, who's from Follyfoot. We go in car again with Philip Waters up at the sharp end in the 924s. This is a great look at the run down the straight, and Waters, the car that's doing a double side by side at the moment with Simon Hawksley in number 2, goes through. Hawksley makes the move, Waters loses the position. He might look to try and cut back in as well. We've got Alistair Kirkham in 72 there as well, involved in the mix, so 3-way scrap for 2nd position in the 924 class. Now the 924s of course have been running for absolutely years. It's a very popular championship over the years. It's brought so many drivers into Porsche racing in the UK, and many of the drivers stay with it. The likes of Adam Croft and Simon Hawkes have been around quite a while, and they'll tell you there's still some terrific value to be had out of the racing, as you can see from our coverage here at Zandvoort. Adam Croft, though, is through. Croft is the clear leader in the 924s. Simon Hawksley 2nd, Philip Waters in 3rd place. Alfred Piesinger is closing up as well. Now Alfred's in the blue car coming into shot behind Alistair Kirkham, so Piesinger's getting himself on the case of these guys and maybe getting his car running up to to pace at the right end of the race. But meanwhile, Richard Avery still in front here from Ed Hayes. Join us after the break for more. Welcome back to Zandvoort, round 6 of the 2015 BRSCC Toyo Tires Porsche Championship, and you're looking at Gary Lawrence in blue challenging Ed Hayes for 2nd position. Hayes was on the attack with Richard Avery, the green car that's out front, but Gary Lawrence is having a very good look here to challenge for 2nd place. He can't quite get it, but it was a fantastic effort, and the racing continues not only in the full race Boxsters but in the venerable 924s. Alfred Piesinger now on the case of Alistair Kirkham. So we saw before the break Alfred was starting to reel in this group, and Philip Waters is the 2nd car in group, 3rd position on the road, bang! Into the back inadvertently to Simon Hawksley, backs off straight away. He doesn't want to cause that sort of contact as Alfred Piesinger is about to come through. He's got the inside line and goes through into 4th position. So great stuff from Alfred Piesinger. This is 10th position overall for Alfred, but 4th position in class, which is the key thing that the 924 drivers are interested in. Michael Goodacre, incidentally, still running in the Class B production Boxster. Phil Waters, after that little bit of contact, is getting involved again, getting closer to the 2nd place car. Still Adam Croft leading. Alistair Kirkham has got back in front of Alfred Piesinger. Absolutely superb dicing between these cars. And if you talk to the drivers, you'll find out that running a 924 is a modest budget, so it's a terrific way to get yourself into racing and maybe onto a Porsche ladder. You never know. As Piesinger and Kirkham runs wide and lost a bit of momentum, and Alfred Piesinger saw that, goes through onto the last lap, and it's Richard Avery heading this one from Ed Hayes. But Hayes has closed up. You can see that Gary Lawrence has dropped a little way back, and this is and through up into the lead. Goes Ed Hayes, or does he? They're still side by side. This is a great race. Avery's hanging on, but Hayes is going to have a look down the inside. Runs over the curves. They're still side by side. Now, the line into the next corner is that of Ed Hayes, and he goes through into the lead, passing Richard Avery. Will Richard be able to fight back, or will Ed Hayes hold on? The championship leader looking for his 2nd win of the year. He won the reverse grid race, remember, at Rockingham, and this borrowed car is working magnificently for him. So Ed Hayes, who has been fast and consistent thus far, leads the championship from Gary Lawrence. and he's got the lead. Richard Avery will be, I think, a little bit fed up with himself for that, but he's still chasing hard and wants to try and come back at the race leader, but it's Hayes from Avery. Gary Lawrence still in third, back to the 924s. Alfred Piesinger challenging for third place in class on Philip Waters. Piesinger goes wide. Alistair Kirkham has a look up the inside, nips fourth position back. Great race between those, but it's the checkered flag and a win for Ed Hayes from Richard Avery. Gary Lawrence, then Adam Southgate. Jason Flegg there in the borrowed Ed Hayes car ahead of Nick Hull. 924 still engaged in battle. Alfred Piesinger has got back ahead. He's in the blue car ahead of Alistair Kirkham, who's trying to nose his way up the inside as they come into the Ari Lyondike corner. And is he going to do it? It's a win for Adam Croft, who's delighted with that. Croft taking the win from Simon Hawksley. Philip Waters across the line, and it is Alfred Piesinger who just gets it from Alistair Kirkham. Contact between those guys. Michael Goodacre you saw as well in the grey production Boxster, so he takes 12th overall. So it was Hayes from Avery, Gary Lawrence, Adam Southgate, Jason Flegg, Nick Hull and John Cleland in the race spec Boxsters. Michael Goodacre gets the points for the productions, and in the 924s, Adam Croft from Simon Hawksley, Philip Waters and Alfred Piesinger. Alistair Kirkham ahead of Nizar El-Chamar, Cole Rossin, David Jones and Hugh Peart in 9th.
So let's have a chat with our race 1 winner, Ed Hayes. Ed, congratulations. Very hard fought race, of course, between yourself and the two guys, Gary and Richard. Just talk us through that from your point of view.
The start was okay. I thought on maybe lap 1 or 2 I'd getting a tiny bit of a gap, and then I'd go through sections where I thought I was going really well. I'd look in my mirror, he's right on the bumper. He had the momentum at that stage. I think we'd done different things with tyres. I'd used slightly more worn ones, he had some new ones, whether that's got to do with it. But yeah, he passed me, and then towards the end, his car started moving around a bit more and kept a bit of pressure on, and eventually got him on I think it was the last lap or one before, maybe, probably the last lap.
So you're right place at the right time for that, of course. Yeah,
just at the end of the bendy straight thing, whatever you call it, at the top.
Excellent stuff. Now, you're in a slightly different car this weekend, number 23. Just talk us through the reason behind that. I understand you had 1 or 2 issues with another competitor having a rather beaten up car this morning.
That wasn't the reason for me hiring this originally. We had a bit of a power test last round, and that one had a little bit more than mine, so I thought, haven't tried a different car, so I'd arranged to hire it from Dave just to see. We did them both back-to-back in testing, and they were pretty similar. Then in the last session, Jason Flegg really smashes up in a big way, so we've entered my one.
So, second place in race 1 goes to Richard Avery. Richard, brilliant race for yourself and a brilliant fight between yourself, Gary and Ed. Just talk us through your race and your point of view, because at one point it looked as though you had it.
Yeah, I did. I had a not very good start, dropped into third place, managed to get past Gary, then eventually take Ed along the fast straight. It was a hard race. I mean, I was holding obviously the lead for quite some time, and then literally last lap, Ed just slipped me just literally on about halfway through the circuit on the last lap. I was pretty gutted, to be honest, but it was good. It's fantastic, and really nice racetrack, really fast. But yeah, cars all good. Brilliant song.
So, third place in the race box for race 1 went to Gary Lawrence. Gary, brilliant drive from yourself and brilliant fight with the guys up front. And from the smile you've got on your face, looks like you enjoyed it.
Yeah, no, really happy. It's a circuit that takes some learning. There's no question of that. It's the first time here yesterday in practice, and I have to say I was a little bit nervous today, but no, it went really well. The car was great. We were all sort of fairly close, I would say. Got a good start, managed to take my teammate Richard, who nearly put me in the wall, but I won't hold that against him. No, I mean, right the way through it was sort of fairly close. I had a little bit of a lunge on Ed into the chicane just up here, because I sort of was carrying a little bit more speed in that particular part, and but didn't quite pull off. I sort of he managed to get back, and then I sort of lost a little bit of momentum then, and then it really was a case of just trying to maintain that third place. But no, it was good. I enjoyed it. Again, I'd just like to thank my sponsors, Country Properties and Dodd & Vorton, because without them, as I said before, I wouldn't be racing. I'd also like to thank my beautiful partner, Philippa, who supports me, and I've never mentioned before, so I thought I'd get that one in.
So let's have a chat with our race 1 winner in the production 924 category, which of course is Adam Croft. Adam, very well driven. It seemed to be pretty fast and frantic up at the front, but you come out on top. So how was that from your point of view?
It was a great race, really good fun. I was on pole, obviously the best place to be starting from, but then Philip Waters got me off the start, and then I think he ran wide a little bit towards the back of the circuit, so that meant I could just nip past then. And then it was pretty close then for the rest of the race, but the guys behind were battling, so that enabled me to get a bit of a gap to them.
So they fought amongst each other and you took advantage and sailed off into the distance somewhat.
Yeah, not as far in the distance as perhaps I'd have liked to be more comfortable, but it was enough to be able to take the win from there.
So, second place in 924s is Simon Hawksley. And Simon, pretty fast and frantic out there, that you were really in the mix for that battle for second place. Just talk us through how it was from your point of view.
Well, I wasn't really sure how the race would pan out, with qualifying being wet and then a dry race. But I had a really good time. The start and the first lap was pretty frantic. There's a lot of people changing positions and things, and somehow I managed to gain a few places. It was pretty good.
With the changeable conditions, how much confidence has it given you from going from wet to dry in terms of how the car's behaving?
Oh, masses more. Qualifying was really difficult, and in the dry in the race it was a lot easier. Still a tricky circuit to get right, but keeping it on the track is a lot easier in the dry.
Of course, it's the Eurofest here at Zandvoort. I mean, how are you finding the circuit as a driver's circuit this weekend?
Fantastic. It's definitely one of my favourite circuits here in Zandvoort.
Well, as you can see, a change of conditions here at Zandvoort, and it's going to be a test. It really has thrown everything at the drivers. There is the club chairman, Nick Hull, in the number 6 car. Ed Hayes on pole, Richard Avery second from Gary Lawrence, then Adam Southgate, Jason Flegg, Nick Hull and John Cleland, followed by the production boxster of Michael Goodacre. The 924's headed by Adam Croft, then Simon Hawksley, Philip Waters and Alfred Piesinger. Alistair Kirkham, Nizar Elchamar, Cole Rossin, David Jones and Hugh Peart complete the grid for our second race. As you can see, lights out on the gantry, lights on the cars, and it's a great start through from Richard Avery into the lead. Getting a little bit bogged down there was Ed Hayes, the winner of race number 1. Gary Lawrence is second. Nick Holt had an inspired start up into third place ahead of Adam Southgate. Then it's the 77 car of Jason Flegg. There's the production car of Michael Goodacre, and it looks like a cracking start once again in the 924s from Adam Croft. But look at the conditions here. Very, very tricky indeed. This is the back of the pit straight going through Hugenholtz turn 3, which sends them up onto the far side, and all sorts of slides going on, and we go around. The worst possible thing to be, thankfully off the racing line though, albeit facing the wrong way. Well, conditions very, very awkward, and for those of you that maybe don't watch too much racing, I can tell you that when conditions differ vastly from qualifying or race to race, the officials generally give the competitors an extra green flag lap or an installation lap so that they can acclimatise themselves with the circuit, see where any standing water is, and it's all for safety, of course, which is a great idea. But there's Gary Lawrence heading Adam Southgate, who's going to go through on the inside. Southgate really can see gingerly going into the corner, rightly so. Now look at this. Visibility so difficult when in the wet conditions, getting misted up inside, and Gary Lawrence has got a tiny little bit of visibility down the bottom. You can just see bottom right of shot there. So a lot of people would consider that onboard shot term maybe not much use, but to us it is, because it just shows you how difficult conditions are. So the 924s splashing their way through, and Nick Hull about to try and pass Alistair Kirkham, who is in 4th position in class at the moment. So Nick Hull on a little bit of a charge. He's passed Nizar Elchamar, but we go back to the lead car, Richard Avery from Adam Southgate. Then it's Gary Lawrence. And following Gary, we've got Ed Hayes in the black and green TF Motorsport car, running well, challenging Gary Lawrence at the moment. And Philip Waters, visibility not too bad for him, but very, very difficult conditions here at Zandvoort. We'll catch up with the rest of the race after the break. Welcome back to Zandvoort, round 7 of the Toyo Tires Porsche BRSCC Championship. And a move there from race 1 winner, Ed Hayes, who was a little bit slow off the line, but he's passed Gary Lawrence now in the 93 car, made up a position. It's so difficult out there. You heard the drivers talking in the interviews after race 1, as Adam Southgate looks to the outside line of Richard Avery for the lead. Avery's got it at the moment. Southgate is going to go through on the inside. Great piece of driving, all good, clean, fair driving by these guys. And Richard Avery down to second again. He's getting used to leading it. Here we go in car with Jason Flegg. And Jason in the light blue car. Right of shot, the Boxster, challenging Phil Waters in the 924. Uses that extra torque to go through. Still 3 or 4 wide. Nizar El Jamar getting in the mix as well. Looks up the inside line. Goodness me, it's so difficult out there. The wet conditions, of course, will negate a little bit of the gap, performance gap, between the 924s and the full race Boxsters. I keep wanting to say Ed Hayes in 77, but of course it's Jason Flegg who's trying to make progress up the order. Here's the view from Nizar. Once again, so Nizar coming up on Philip Waters, and he's got the inside line. He's got to be so mindful of contact. Waters in the wet, maybe finding a little bit more grip on the outside inside line for the next corner, and I think he's going to hold on to position. So look at the very, very evenly matched, all these cars, and out front it's still Adam Croft. Second position in class is Simon Hawksley, and Philip Waters was third but gets into a spin. And I think he might have been helped round inadvertently there by Nizar El Shamar. He's having a quick look to see who's coming. Thankfully, largely off the circuit. And of course, the approaching speeds are slow enough that the drivers can react. And although the speeds are slower, it's still very treacherous out there and slippery. And that's proved by Nick Hull, who goes off. So Nick Hull in the gravel, but a masterly recovery from Nick. Back on track. Here is a replay. We're in car with Phil Waters. It must have been the lightest of touches. You didn't feel a big jink or see a big jink from the car. And around goes Southgate, the race leader. That's how difficult it is. He's going to keep it going. We've got Richard Avery back in the lead. Ed Hayes in second. So Ed Hayes here is coming through, and he's up to second place. Southgate recovers very well indeed. The rugby-based racer. 2 race wins for him at Rockingham, of course, in the fastest off the front races. But look at the battle we've got on for the lead. Ed Hayes is chasing Richard Avery, and Avery's been passed. Avery demoted to second. Ed Hayes is up in lead position again here at Zandvoort. Goes through, takes the lead. Richard Avery down to second place. And Ed Hayes running well. Here's the view down the main straight. We wait for the race leader to come into sight, which he does. Third position is still Adam Southgate, as you can see, but a little way back after that spin for the erstwhile front runner. And Crofty's had a problem as well. It looks like Adam Croft, we're going to get a different winner here, I think, in the 924s. It depends what happens, of course, to the other drivers. But out front now, it's Simon Hawksley from Alistair Kirkham, and Hawksley goes and does a pirouette. Well, you don't need me to tell you how difficult and tricky it is out there, and Hawksley just overcooked it. Nizar El Chamar is still running and running well, and to a certain degree a little bit of extra finesse needed. He goes past Carl Rossin in the 41 car. He looks very cool in the cockpit. Quick look in the mirrors. There is Nizar up ahead of Carl Rossin, with the now recovering Simon Hawksley in car number 2. Problems again for Adam Southgate, who looks well and truly beached there. That does not look good at all, whereas several of the other cars have been able to keep the momentum going. If you're facing the right way, that's okay, but Adam isn't. But he's put some gravel on the circuit. Nick Hull goes through and he's running well. Marshall's, you can see, reporting in the problem there, and yellow flags alerting the drivers to the problem. So safety vehicle out to recover Adam Southgate, and it's going to be, sadly, a non-finish for Adam. Second non-finish of the year. Didn't start the second race at Alton Park, and the safety car brings the field round. You can see Gary Lawrence in third, Nick Hull in fourth. Safety car into pit lane, we're ready to go racing again, and Nick Hull in fourth position is left of shot, coming down towards us, challenging Gary Lawrence for third position, but out front it's Ed Hayes, so it's Hayes leading from Avery. It's still like a skating rink out there here in Holland, and Hayes looking for a third championship win in succession here. Philip Waters racing hard still. Appropriate name, I guess, for this weather. The Chichester-based man running well. Oh, but off goes Alfred Piesinger. Piesinger's off in the gravel. Two's off as well. Waters comes out in sympathy and nudges into Piesinger. Both of those guys are going to have damage. You can see how tricky it is. Well, let's hope things dry up for race 3. One driver who's done supremely well, wet or dry, or two drivers, I should say. Richard Avery, the chaser, in green, but we've got Nick Hull in third place. Nick Hull is on for a podium here, and he's driven superbly well, Nick Hull. So here comes the race leader on the last lap. It's Ed Hayes from Richard Avery. Nick Hull is in third position and gunning for that podium. There is Richard Avery. It's going to be another second place, a fourth podium of the year for Richard Avery. We go in car with Nizar El Jamar, who is running third in class at the moment. Back to the race leaders. Remember, this is a long lap, 2.6 miles around Zandvoort. And I tell you what, Nick Hull is closing in on the second place man. Nick Hull could be on for a second position here. Richard Avery's out front, takes the line into the corner, doesn't leave a gap. He'll have looked in his mirrors and seen they're coming through the S-turn. Turn 10 here, they go down to turn 11, which is the Kumo turn. But out front, it's still Ed Hayes who's got the lead. Now look at the third place car. Nick Hull piling the pressure on. I'm not sure he's close enough to challenge for that second, but it looks like a podium coming through the last corner now, and he's having a look. As you can see on the clock, the time is out. The checkered flag is out as well now for Ed Hayes, who makes it 2 out of 2 here in the full race Boxsters. Second position for Richard Avery and a podium for Nick Hull. It's Jason Flegg coming across the line next from Gary Lawrence. In car with Nizar El Chamar, racing hard. And is he going to be able to get past and make up the position? We've got Alistair Kirkham, who leads the 924s. Kirkham takes it side by side for second in the 924s, and Nizar just getting it from David Jones, then Adam Croft, Carl Rossin and Simon Hawksley. Well, that was a very, very slippery, difficult race, and Ed Hayes will be rightly pleased to take his third win in a row, run the final race at Rockingham, you remember. Hayes the winner from Richard Avery, podium for Nick Hull, Jason Flegg fourth from Gary Lawrence, problems for John Cleland and Adam Southgate, production box to win for Michael Goodacre. And then in the 924s, Alistair Kirkham winning from Nizar El Chamar and David Jones. Adam Croft next from Carl Rossin, Simon Hawksley, Hugh Peart and Phil Waters.
It was really good. I stalled the car on the start, and I saw everybody sort of filing around, and my own car was just managed to duck out of the way as he was coming past, so that was lucky. But yeah, eventually got into the lead. Adam Southgate had a big moment, then the safety car backed everything up again, and then there was only a lap left, so it was all right. But yeah, it's all right here like this. It was starting to dry up a little bit towards the end, but yeah, good fun.
Yeah, I had a great start, and you know, got into a good position. Tapped Jason on the start, just came together a little bit, settled down, got into the third corner, and unfortunately just collect. 50-50. I went up the inside of Gary, and he just turned me around. So ended up in last position. The weather out there, it was only fit for ducks really. So it was really bad. I was trying as hard as I could to catch Rich, because I thought, well, I can get a third. But to be fair to him, those lads drove really well. They did well. Maybe they're a bit more used to this duck-like weather, but yeah, it was good fun. It was just great fun. Yeah.
So second place in the 924s in race 2 was the bright purple Porsche, as I said, Nizar El Chamar. Nizar, brilliant race, pretty tricky conditions. Just talk us through your race.
Oh, it was in the end, it was a great result for me because I finished second. Very, very tricky conditions out there, but a lot of fun, and you know, there's a lot of respect between the drivers and stuff like that. So it was really good. I really enjoyed the race. Lots of overtaking, lots of incidents. So you know, I enjoyed it.
And it was close towards the end. You just about got second on the line.
That's right. Yeah. So I think it was 0.012 difference between me and David Jones. And I was only half a second off the lead. I think another lap, I could have probably won the race. But overall, very happy with P2.
So, third place in race 2 goes to David Jones. David, brilliant race from you in what was pretty adverse conditions. Just talk us through how you found it.
Well, it was it was a bit tricky out there, a bit more slippery than I was expecting in certain parts, and then it seemed to get worse as we were coming off the out of the hairpin in the first hairpin. It seemed to get a lot worse as we dropped down the hill there, and there was lots of spinners, and that's where I made up a number of places. I think I started fairly well back, but yeah, the car was running well. It was good fun. Then the safety car came up, and we came out and we bunched up, and then so I managed to. I thought I'd got second. I think I lost it by 0.12 of a second, which is a real pain. But no, it was a good fun, good race, and pretty clean most of the way.
So let's have a chat with one of the competitors for this weekend, Jason Flegg. And Jason, obviously behind you is the regular car you'll be driving, but unfortunately it's not in the state that you'd like it to be. Just talk us through what's happened.
Yeah, we did testing yesterday, and you know, learning the track, etc. Cracking day. Last session, last lap, last corner. I was 2/10 under my quickest time, and I think I've got to go. And I come up on a back marker, and unfortunately, I was paying more attention to him than I was to my line, and I just come out a little bit too wide. It's very dusty, and unfortunately, I spun out and hit the barrier at 80. So bit messy.
So let's have a chat to the man who finished third in race 1 for the 94s, which was, of course, Philip Waters. Philip, of course, third in race 1, bit of mixed fortunes in race 2. Just talk us through your weekend so far.
Oh, it's great fun. It's great being over here, obviously. It's a fantastic track, and the second race was a bit mixed for me. Obviously, I started in P3, had a run up at the other two in front of me on the beginning of the lap, and then I just got punted off and wrapped, typical, you know, stock car trick up the inside and spun me round, and I started dead last. And then, of course, we got going, and last lap came, you know, the minute to go, or whatever it was, and I caught up to the train of cars under the safety car. We came to the first corner, and all three of us locked up, went straight on in the gravel, and I got collected by one of the other cars. But it was good fun. We're going to be out in race 3, and the good thing is, of course, it's a reverse grid, so I'll be in pole position. So better luck this time.
Gary Lawrence on pole position with Jason Flegg alongside, then Nick Hull and Richard Avery, Ed Hayes, John Cleland next, Adam Southgate, production boxster of Michael Goodacre, Alfred Piesinger and Phil Waters ahead of Hugh Peart, Simon Hawksley, Carl Rossin, Adam Croft, David Jones, Nizar El Chamar and Alistair Kirkham. The lights are on. And out now, we're ready for our third and final race from Zandvoort. It's a great start by Gary Lawrence from pole position, very capable of taking wins. Remember, 2 podia for him at Alton Park. But going around the outside is Jason Flegg, third position Nick Hull, fourth is Richard Avery in the white and green car. That outside line not working at Tarzan off the start though, and Jason Flegg is in second position, chasing the race leader Gary Lawrence. This the view from the car in second place. Coming down into turn 3, no runoff at all on the outside there. That's to protect the inner paddock here. This the view from Adam Croft, the championship leader, and he's going to be passed by Alistair Kirkham. Carl Rossin is in front, and Kirkham's got in front. Some fairly uninviting barriers on the exit of that one. They climb uphill, a little kink around to the right, and then we go back into the left-hander. Up the hill, there's Adam Southgate running well, but it's Gary Lawrence out front. The top 2 starting to build a bit of a gap over Richard Avery in the green and white car running in third place. Avery's got Ed Hayes with him. There's Nick Hull, followed by Adam Southgate in 45. John Cleland, of course, the other runner in the full race boxers. And this the view from Nizar El Chamar past Hugh Peart. in the 36 car. Very neatly and coolly done by Nizar, but at the end of the first lap, Gary Lawrence goes across the line. Jason Flegg second, still that gap back to Richard Avery, who's relatively on his own, before the gap back to Ed Hayes. A little challenge, a look down the inside from the 77 car into Tarzan. Nothing doing though, so he stays in second position, and the top two lapping well on that first tour of Zandvoort. This the view from Adam Croft. Carl Rossin immediately in front of us in 41 has got the tight inside line. Are we going to see Crofty here exploring the outside line, or is he going to slot in? The answer is actually going to slot in behind. Ahead of them we've got Simon Hawksley and then Alistair Kirkham, but Crofty now puts his nose up the inside. That's going to be the outside for the next corner. So just have a look at this outside line here, defensive line from Carl Rossin. And now Croft's going to get a bit of a run. The wide entrance gives him more of a run here. If he can hold on to this line, slight kink here to the right, and then he's on the inside line for the left hand of the next corner. He should go through. Yes, he does. Adam Croft goes through. Lovely piece of racing. Really good to see how he set that move up on Carl Rossin. And good, clean, fair stuff from the 924s. And shows you that overtaking very possible. And that's exactly how to do it. Ed Hayes here having a look at Richard Avery, goes through on the inside but overcooks it, gets a tank slapper on. Adam Southgate goes back through, and Ed Hayes goes through as well. So Richard Avery hasn't lost too much momentum, but he has lost the place he gained plus another one, which I guess he'll be kicking himself a little bit for, but faint heart never kissed a pig, did it? So you've got to have a go for these manoeuvres. There is Crofty up ahead of Alistair Kirkham and Phil Waters. Adam Southgate with the fastest lap of the race, but as you saw from on board, the spits and spots were starting, and the track is now getting very, very difficult indeed as Richard Avery goes up the inside of Ed Hayes. Avery through on the inside line. Oh, and Nick Hull's off. The podium finisher from race 2 is off into the gravel. Mind you, he recovered last time and managed to get a podium, so Nick Hull will have to work hard again to secure some more points. Oh, Adam Croft's out. Croft spins. The wet conditions have caught Crofty out by the look of it. He gets going again, but Adam Croft, who was looking for a very good result here, is off and loses a couple of places. We might see more spins as we did in race number 2, but Adam's significantly still running, but a little way behind. The conditions getting difficult again, as you can see. This is the replay from Adam's car. Quick recovery, back end wants to come round. The worrying thing, facing the traffic coming through goes Simon Hawksley in the number 2, and Adam Croft recovers. But out front is still Gary Lawrence in blue. This is the battle for second place. And down the inside goes Ed Hayes. So Ed Hayes through into second. Adam Southgate third. Then it's Richard Avery. He saw the flash of blue going through. Gary Lawrence still out front. The view from Ed Hayes now in second position, running well. And these difficult conditions not catching him out at all. It's a little bit wide there. Meanwhile, at the front, Alistair Kirkham, the front of the 924s. Second position at the moment, Phil Waters, followed by Simon Hawksley in car number 2, the Express Solicitors car, about to have a look and take a wide line into that corner to try and challenge for second. Gary Lawrence being reeled in now by Ed Hayes. So Lawrence has led very, very well here. Look at Hayes using all of the circuit at Tarzan wide line. I guess it's going to be a matter of personal preference where you go. Visibility very, very tricky from Ed Hayes. And it's a job to see what he's doing, but he's closing up on the race leader, who is there. And he's going through to take the lead with limited visibility. Ed Hayes is on his way to a hat-trick of wins here at Zandvoort. Passes Gary Lawrence, who's down to second. Richard Avery in third. And back with the 924s with Alistair Kirkham, Phil Waters dicing side by side with Simon Hawksley for second position. And Waters has come through into that second position. Great move. And he's there as they go into Tarzan. And so on to the last lap here at Zandvoort. Carl Rossin in white is a back marker. Carl still running in 8th position in the 924s, and he will see the leading car coming through. So Ed Hayes in 23 goes through safely on the inside, just under 2.6 miles of the Zandvoort circuit to go for Ed Hayes after that excellent manoeuvre. But he's got a problem. Ed Hayes has got a problem. He's slowing up and has stopped. The race leader has stopped. That's going to put Gary Lawrence back in the lead. Here comes the new race leader. You can see through the murk. They pass Carl Rossin. Richard Avery is there in second position. Richard Avery looking for his first win of the year, as is Gary Lawrence. So the two teammates embroiled in battle here on a slippery circuit. Blue flag being shown to Carl Rossin. He's done a terrific job. We've got Adam Southgate is next. 72 and 2 still engaged in battle. Simon Hawksley and Alistair Kirkham. Philip Waters is working hard, having to clear the windscreen on his car so that he can see what he's doing, trying to get that podium position and ultimately, of course, trying to get a win as well. But so tricky out there. A flash through shot of John Cleland, Southampton-based driver. John running at the moment in 7th position. But where's the leader gone? Because Richard Avery takes the checkered flag. Avery wins. It's Adam Southgate in 2nd position. And the race leader, Gary Lawrence, must have had a spin or a moment since we last saw him, because it's Nick Hull third, and there is Gary Lawrence, the second of the cars, comes through in 4th place. So Gary Lawrence in 4th position, but it's another podium for Nick Hull in 3rd place. Through goes Carl Rossin, down in 15th place, a lap down, but it's Richard Avery in the Boxsters from Adam Southgate, Nick Hull, Gary Lawrence next, John Cleland in 5th, Ed Hayes and Jason Flegg non-finishers. Production win for Michael Goodacre, 924 win to Alistair Kirkham from Phil Waters, Nizar El Chamar in 3rd from Adam Croft, Simon Hawksley, David Jones, Hugh Peart and Carl Rossin. And leaving Zandvoort, Ed Hayes leads the championship from Richard Avery. Then it's Adam Southgate and Gary Lawrence, Nick Hull in 5th place and Jason Flegg in 6th position. In the 924s, Adam Croft maintains the top step with Alistair Kirkham 2nd from Simon Hawksley, Phil Waters 4th from Carl Rossin and Nizar El Chamar in 6th.
Well, it's been a fantastic weekend here in Europe for the Porsches, and well done to the man who's piloted this car this weekend, Ed Hayes, as he takes the lion's share of the points and continues to lead the championship. Next time, the series heads back home onto UK shores to Donington at the beginning of July. But if you want to find out more about the championship before that, you can head to the website www.PorscheRacingDrivers.co.uk. From all of us here at Zandvoort, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.